Hello, my name is Benedikt Terwiel. I'm an artist in residence at IMPAKT in Utrecht, and I'm working on the installation of Land Before Last, which is a portrait of the digital landscape model of the Netherlands. Landscape models are technical representations of the terrain of a country. They are usually generated by laser-based surveys that produce certain data sets with information about the elevation of the ground surface. What made it interesting for me as an artist was that all human buildings and infrastructure, like houses, roads, bridges, as well as all natural life, has been removed from this model, so that the human habitat is only visible by the imprint it left in this topography. The landscape kind of appears as a vast archaeological site, like a timeless and nameless place with the traces of a lost civilization. It seems to me, and that was interesting, ambivalent in time. So you don't know on what point on the timeline you are, and you don't know in which direction you are looking at. This landscape model is an object privé. I didn't change much in it, except giving it light and depth and some few landscape conventions that I learned from painting. I mostly traveled through it with a camera and tried to record it. The camera in my film sort of transcends the region of Zeeland all the way to the metropolitan region of Rotterdam. It shows one of the largest industrialized and most densely populated areas in Europe and in one of the most globalized countries in the world. So it exposes the vast alterations and adaptations to the landscape that humans have left here during centuries of building, altering and expanding their habitat. When visiting its digital twin, so to say, I started thinking about what does this silent relic speak about? What narratives are present? What actually does this mean to portray a world devoid of nature, a world devoid of warmth? And I started working on these questions with my friend, the artist and musician Anoni, who then agreed to collaborate with me on this film. She created the soundscape for this environment. And together we work on some kind of a narrative for the place, a conversation that could accompany it.
When Benedikt asked me to create a soundtrack for his films, I jumped at the chance. I found the films to be incredibly compelling, reflecting a landscape that seemed at once alien to me, but also weirdly familiar, almost like an echo from the future. The fact that they had been created using this kind of forensic technology made them even more emotional for me. We went through several iterations in terms of how to deal with the soundtrack. Firstly, we did a series of interviews trying to figure out what his intention was behind presenting these barren landscapes and what was that it meant to him, what it could possibly mean to me, and what it meant as artists to be presenting apocalyptic provocations at a time like this when the proximity of eco-collapse was so visceral. And we went from developing these kind of ambient, hollow surveillance soundscapes to exploring the idea of working entirely with spoken text, AI-generated voices, stumbling through transcripts of our conversations. And then we ended up choosing a series of very subtle tonal chambers that I created with software that slowed down fragments of sounds that were meaningful to me, but slowed them down by 100, 200, 400, 600 times, leaving just a chamber of reverberations in place of where the sound had once been.
I feel that this elementalness and the profoundness of the conversation that she's offering in her work is exactly what the landscape needs to be understood, to address the question, where do we go from here?